Now that'd be great for eating,
Yeah.
but visually maybe not so much. So the dish is a concept dish, so quite interesting.
What sort of techniques are we going to see?
Try to build the garnish and build the plate up. It's going to be a slightly messy plate. That's taught me that to be confident, but I changed my mind as I started.
Nick, it looks stunning. Moving on slightly, so
Yep.
you kindly agreed to plate a dish for us today.
Yep.
What sort of techniques are we going to see? Well, so firstly, maybe just tell us what the dish is, and then what.
So the dish is a concept dish, so quite interesting. So I'll probably cock it up a couple of times. We've got some really lovely halibut that's been cured. We're only going to apply a little bit of heat to that. Temperature is really important in food. Seasonally, we're going with some broad beans and some peas. I've got some daikon radish, so mooli radish, big radish that have been braised a little bit, and we're just going to get some colour on the top of that. Then I've got some oils and a really lovely black sauce. So the concept of the dish was I've got a beautiful white plate.
Yep.
Black off of white. My fish is white.
So
My daikon's white.
nice and contrasty.
Green is the other element. I've then got some little bits and pieces of sea herbs to match in with the dish to make it pretty and tidy and neat. What I've got is different shapes. So I've got peas and broad beans are obviously slightly rounded.
Yep.
I've got slightly spiky looking sea herbs. We've got some sea fennel. We've got some sea purslane, which is a bit softer, like a leaf. We've got some marsh samphire. We've got some, and the radish is cut into little rectangles, like little batons. The fish itself is kind of almost little squares or a square piece. And when that comes together on the plate, again, we'll start in the middle and we'll just try to build the garnish and build the plate up.
Yep.
And then we will finish with the sauce. I was thinking earlier on when we're talking, saucing is an interesting one.
Yep.
You don't necessarily need to sauce after everything else is on the plate.
Okay.
Some plates of food, you want the sauce down on the bottom, and that's the start of your canvas, and that's where your food will go. We may well do that today, because I don't want to pour something black, because we've created a fish velouté or fish-based, stock-based sauce, but we've added some squidding into it. Gives an interesting texture as well as the colour. Yeah, so the dish, it's going to be a slightly messy plate, I think. We're going to have the sauce on the bottom of the plate, and then we'll just build the rest up on the top.
Okay. And again, is this, because this sounds like, because if it was me, I probably would know what I was doing before I got there. But it sounds like you are, again, maybe confidence-wise, quite happy just to see how it goes and see if it works as you go, which is really interesting.
Very happy in this environment. And that's perhaps something as a change, because we're not open all day, every day here. I haven't got a menu where we're plating the same things over and over and over and over and over. We are doing ad hoc dining each month on different dates. And actually, that's taught me that to be confident, I'm not saying that the first one that we plate up, I might look at it and go, no, I don't like that. Off to one side, we're going again. But it's allowed me to use the confidence and go, actually, I can create something that looks quite nice and looks interesting to people. There's the odd one where we're like, what I really like.
What did I do?
Do the elements of the dish go together? But again, you tend to learn that actually that is going to eat nice together, even if I can't make it look particularly brilliant. It's going to be interesting, and we'll talk through it as we go.
So before we find out how Nick gets on plating this beautiful dish, it would be great if you could like, comment or subscribe on the video, because the more interest and engagement I can get in these videos, the more brilliantly talented chefs I can invite to come on board and show us some of their techniques. But that's enough of that, let's get back to the video.
The concept of the dish was to think about, we've got a beautiful white plate, so we're just thinking about white and black and the colours that really stand off the plate.
Yep.
I've got some peas and some broad beans because they're in season right now. Then I've gone with some sea vegetables. We've got some marsh samphire. I've got a little bit of sea fennel and some sea purslane. And then my garnish for that, I've got a little bit of daikon radish, which is just over here. And then I've got some spare cured fish here. This is cured halibut that we've just gently given a little bit of colour through. So again, you've got the black and the white texture on there. In terms of placing this, you won't see me with my tweezers, Tom. So we're just gonna look at the middle of the plate, but I've just gone slightly off the middle of the plate with that. And I'm thinking about creating the base. We talked about height earlier.
Yep.
Okay. And visual interest. Okay. You'll notice I'm popping a little bit more just to this side because this is the side that we're going to create. That we're going to create a nice base for our fish.
Yep. So that's the balance again.
That's the balance, yeah. And you'll also notice that I've left the top of the radish that we've got. I've given it a nice little bit of colour. I've left that completely free there for now.
Okay.
Because I think that looks quite nice.
It looks gorgeous.
Then, so I've got opposing shapes there.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a rectangle and a square, but I've broken it up a little bit with some of the green.
Yep.
You see? Now, what's interesting with this one is I did think about whether we'd sauce down on the bottom of the plate, but I changed my mind as I started. We may well plate another one.
This is very fluid, isn't it?
While we're going. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So then I'm just looking at, I've got the key elements of my dish there.
Yep.
The key elements that I want everybody to taste apart from my sauce. What I need to do now is just finish it visually for how I want it to look. So I've got some of my little sea herbs, but am I happy with what's going on over here? No, I'm not. So I'm just going to get my spoon and I'm just going to fill in a couple more there.
Okay.
A few more of our peas over there. And then maybe we'll just knock those about a bit over there and make them look a little bit random. And you know what? What about one of those just up on the top of there like that? We were talking about the visual side of it, weren't we? Then I'm going to come back in another spoon. Well, it's a bit clackety, isn't it? That. Oh, okay. Spoon pot. Let's just use our fingers, shall we?
We're all friends here.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And what about the dish itself? Is this a new recipe for you? Is it, or is this something that?
No. So there's elements within here that we've used before.
Yeah.
Essentially, what we had was a really beautiful sauce, which you'll see in a minute, the black sauce. And that's made with a lovely fish stock base. And then the halibut, curing the halibut, you get a really nice, really interesting, contrasting taste. What I'm doing now is just building up, Tom. I'm not getting too carried away with throwing loads of stuff on all in one go. Now, when a dish is a little bit more practiced, like it would be in a kitchen, like when we're in service, I can do this all a lot quicker.
Yep.
All right. And I may even sort of naturally scatter bits and pieces around.
Okay.
But because we're plating for a picture, I can take my time here and create something a little bit nice.
Yes,
so I'm just going to show a little bit of our samphire as well.
Mm-hmm. Is this you talked about the ingredients from around here, the foraging stuff. Is there anything that's foraged in this?
Well, the sea herbs are, but not foraged around here. No, sea herbs will come with our fish supplier. We use a fish supplier down in Cornwall, Indian Queens, and they have foragers that work in that area that will go out.
I guess Reading does suffer from not being hugely close to the sea.
Not too close to the sea. No, but do you know what? There are processes that are used,
yes,
all right, that make it as good as, if not better. I can get fish here that's landed in the morning. I can get it here pretty much, through the middle of the night, and it's ready for me the following morning. Okay. This is our oil. Okay. So we're just going to fill a little bit.
What kind of oil is it?
It's dill oil.
Dill oil.
So we're just going to follow a little bit of that.
Lovely colour, isn't it?
Yeah. So I'm just going to drop that into there. And then our sauce, actually, so that I can create neat saucing and neat, it's in a bottle. So we'll keep that nice and warm.
Yep.
And then we're just going to fill a little bit of sauce in and let it, what I would describe as puddle.
Yeah. Oh, it really does, doesn't it? Just contrasts so nicely.
And then we can have a little look. Obviously, I'm looking at this dish from this side, but if you were looking at it from on the top, we might want to put a little bit more in there. When I'm saucing anything, I'm always going to start right in the middle of the plate, and I'm going to want that saucing to happen. Going to want the saucing right in the middle, so that, as I said to you when we were talking earlier, when you lash into that with your knife and fork, you're going to get all of the flavours knocked in there together. I think we're okay with that. I don't think we need to fiddle around with it anymore. So that's cured fillet of halibut with braised daikon radish. We've got some peas and some broad beans. There's some sea purslane, some sea fennel, some marsh samphire. Little bit of dill oil to split out our seafood black squid ink sauce.
Well, Nick, it looks stunning.
I'm going to put more of that in there because I want to eat that. All right. The good thing you get with the squid ink when it goes into the sauce is it gives you a bit of body in the texture. So talking about the actual plating, you can see we've come off the bottom of the plate a little bit. We haven't gone completely flat. Could actually plate another one in a minute and do a different style of plating with it.
That would be good. Yeah.
But we've given it height, you know, by creating a base down underneath of peas and beans. We've got our radish there. We've got contrasting shapes, which is interesting visually to the eye. And then what we haven't done is muck that up too much with the rest of what we've put down on the plate. We haven't mucked that up by kind of throwing it and covering it all over the top of it. It would be very easy to take a big wedge of samphire and chuck it right on the top there. Now that'd be great for eating, but visually maybe not so much. All right.
As a photographer, I'm like, please don't do that.
Please don't do that.
Please
all right.
do that.
Please don't do that. So that's that one.
That's brilliant. As always, thank you so much for watching all the way through to the end of this video. If you feel like you've learned anything, it would be amazing to know what it is in the comments below. It would also be awesome if you let me know which chefs you think produce some of the best looking plates of food in the world. And then who knows, if this channel grows, maybe I can get them involved. So as always, please comment, like and subscribe. See you next time.